Hello, my friends and family. We are live once again. I am here with the wonderful, the amazing, the brilliant Josanna Vaz. How you doing, my friend?
Hello, how are you tonight? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. We can hear you. How you guys doing? Welcome to the Outsider's View. And we got a lot of great things to talk about. First thing first, you guys know we launched our Substack. I got it pinned in the comment section. That way we can beat the algorithm. We can beat the algorithm because a lot of people tell us they don't get notifications when we go live. So subscribe to our Substack. That's a good way to follow us. Um, so yeah, please do that. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoy our content. Um, I got a lot of great things to talk about. Like we're gonna talk about how like we just did a story with CJ. I was live with yesterday with CJ, and I was talking about how Eric Adams and his tough on crime policing has failed us. And then right after we did a segment, I wake up today and then there's this tragedy that happened, a shooting in Brooklyn under Eric Adams' territory. I want to get Josanna in here. That's like your territory almost, pretty much, right? So, what was your initial thoughts when you first saw the shooting? Because I got a lot of thoughts because we got to start framing and correcting the record. This is a failure of the NYPD. I'm gonna get into that here very soon. Josanna, I want to get your thoughts on the event, and you can kind of explain what happened if you want to as well.
Well, I am texting you right now just so I can put in the group chat and we can show maybe an article. Uh,
I can pull something up
they
too.
are they are framing a black man in this article. You asked me my first thought, and I'll be quite honest to you, Nick. I smelled bacon. You know why? Because Mr. Pig Mayor he wants to bump up the NYPD budget, which is already 11 billions. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or
Yeah,
millions.
I
It's
got this. I
11.
have the stats. Do you guys know that the NYPD police budget is larger than the Ukrainian military budget? And what do
Yeah.
we get for
Oh,
that
that
in
was the one
return?
I had.
It's like 10 billion.
And
Crazy like that. We gotta dig it up.
so I was like, huh, that sounds like, I mean, you showing it there. Because I'm going to talk about my personal experience. 2 weeks ago, something similar happened in the subway, but it was not a shooting. There were no bombs. I spoke to people before I brought it up to the channel because I don't want to be painted as crazy. But um, I was in the train, and the train stopped in a station, and we were moved to the front cars. Move, 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 move. And then the conductor is calling the cops, and the cops are coming in, and my instinct is going the opposite side and start filming with my phone. That's what all I say. Always film the cops for no reason. Saw a pig, film a pig. Always. They get so mad. And then I'm filming.
Hey, you guys
And
know
then this
that Eric Adams is trying to make that illegal. I reported on that a few weeks ago. I need to do a follow up on that. Eric Adams want to make it illegal to film police officers because we keep catching them doing damning things. But go ahead, Josana.
no, but then that's gonna make sense now. You telling me I was not tripping. So I'm filming. So I have my phone, like I have my backpack and I have my phone like trying to pretend, but like you could see I was recording. This pig is coming like towards me, and he's very like adamant, like coming towards me. And as he comes like staring at me, he's coming at me and he's staring at me, and I'm filming. And then my phone stops filming out of the blue. I didn't press no buttons. And then I start again, and he's looking at me, and my phone stops again. And I'm filming him, and I start again, and it stops again. Like he's giving me signs that he is the one stopping my phone from recording. And I was like, no, 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 I'm crazy. And I mean, of course,
That's
I
great.
walked away
I
because
told
I'm not
you.
gonna get arrested for no reason. But like, I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, I felt like I was like dissociated. I was like I couldn't like, what the heck? And now I think, no, it's easy for them to have something to just cut it off because everything is a Bluetooth. Like you just cut it off. And the NYPD has a bigger budget than the Ukrainian army. It's
Through,
not to say that the Ukrainian army, pobrecitos, oh, whatever. I'm just saying that they have a bigger budget than a country's military.
they got three. Their budget is 3 times larger than North Korea's military budget. How often do you hear Western media and liberals and capitalists fearmonger over the totalitarian, nationalistic, militaristic state of North Korea? Meanwhile, they spend 3 times less than the NYPD does. So my question I want you guys to ask yourself: why is our government waging war against its own people? They, our government is waging war against us. They talking about war crimes that Putin has done. Do you guys know that using tear gas is a war crime? But our police use tear gas against us all the time. I got tear gas at the George Floyd protest in Kansas City. I reported on that all the time at the ground on the ground. They was caught using poison gas in Seattle. So while everyone is talking about Putin war crimes, I think it's more cowardly to focus on another government instead of calling out what your government is doing, which is waging war on its own people, the workers. Eric Adams, while they failed to catch the shooter and prevent the shooting from happening, what has Eric Adams been doing? He's been waging a historic war against the homeless in the subways. Now I'm asking you guys, this war that Eric Adams has been waging against the homelessness, what have it accomplished in terms of protecting New Yorkers? Did it prevent this attack? No, because Eric Adams understands the role of the police. It's not to protect you. If you believe that, you're a child at this point. Their job is to serve capital. And I'm glad there's this shift, and we report on now. People are starting to call this out. There was a few good takes.
And then
Go ahead.
Nick, just because I had this experience that somebody said like I have to start a channel on alien tech conspiracy theory. But because I experienced that, that can be like, oh, thank you, Harold. You're very kind. I I feel like the first thing that happened was like I smelled bacon because you want to increase the budget. You want to make filming you illegal. Sharif told me like surveillance cities. Eric Adams is authorizing the use of drones by the NYPD.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's wild. That's
And
wild.
then where am I living in? A freaking cop's aquarium.
People talk about China like this, like China, this crazy authoritarian country. We live in the craziest police state that ever existed. We have like, what is it? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but what is it? 1/4 of China's population, 1/4, 1/3, something like that. Despite that, we still imprison 1/4 of the world's prison population. We imprison way more people than Russia. Liberals were like, they were like, Russia is this totalitarian state. We imprison way more people than them. Way more people than Cuba, way more people than China, way more people than Venezuela. Every single country that the average Western chauvinist would look at with disdain has nothing on our police state. There's not an apology for them. I don't take the side of states. That's just an objective fact. Now, this is a headline, Josanna, and you can share your reaction. This is
Look,
Mayor Adams filming police has gotten out of control. Must be done properly. Whatever that means. So this
I
is the
mean,
push.
seriously, nigga? Are you like a Hollywood director now? Like, we're gonna have the camera and the light and gonna film the pigs like just the way I like it. It's like this is the death of democracy. These are the signs of the death of the little teeny, 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 tiny freedom we have. And it's starting here. And not by any coincidence, because New York is what they call sanctuarian cities. I think when I was undocumented, I
Sanctuary
knew the
cities?
name. Huh?
Is that sanctuary? I don't sanctuary cities. Is that what you mean?
That, yeah, that is a place where it's really hard for an immigrant, undocumented or not, to get deported, but they will. And ICE is going to do raids because uh, in the church, I'm not going to talk about where the la 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 la. I have not said that. Anyways, there are places that we hide the immigrants here and the refugees, and ICE cannot go in there, but they do raids. But we are fierce. Like we fight back. We did Undia with a day without immigrants and stuff like that. But then we don't have Trump anymore. Democrats do not need to cosplay revolutionaries anymore. So, Eric Adams, yes, the Negro Malcolm X warned us about, I call it a raccoon. Let's call a dog, a raccoon, everything and everything. Let's call by their names. So, Eric Adams is the perfect mayor for this moment right now. He will increase police surveillance, or like human being surveillance. He will increase police force, and we are going to be more and more pushed into head down, work, home. It's coming. How can
Uh,
we not see that?
well said.
Sorry, Nick.
And no, perfect. Well said. And to the point that this commenter made, Adams is the Negro Malcolm X warned us about. All our revolutionary leaders warned us about these black capitalists. It's something that everyone always wants to like ignore. Even W.B. Du Bois, who's not even like to the left, like Fred Hampton and Malcolm X. Even he, this is a passage that I repeat all the time, because our revolutionary leaders been warning us about Eric Adams and what these Negro capitalists like Kamala Harris, what they really about, Hakeem Jeffries, right? So this is from Socialism and the American Negro, written by W.B. Du Bois. A class structure began to arise within the Negro group, which produced haves and have-nots, intended to encourage the more successful Negroes, the Eric Adams, for example, the black capitalists, to join the forces of monopoly. Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, who's a warmonger, who's a war criminal, Barack Obama. Our leaders called these people out decades ago. So he said that the successful Negroes will join the forces of monopoly and exploitation to help victimize their own classes and any other lower classes, like like our brothers and sisters in the global South in Brazil. Like Josanna got a lot of stories about this. Our brothers and sisters in the Middle East. Lloyd Austin, Barack Obama, and those Negroes, they will help exploit us and all the other lower classes that the white supremacist system in which they rise tell them to. Because, and this is the last part of the passage, to remedy the situation, thinking Negroes still regarded their first step towards emancipation as being political power. This is what they openly admit. Colin Powell, rest in peace, right? He said the best way for a black man to climb in this system is through the military or through the police. And he said his brain is so broken. He said it like it's a good thing. He was like, people think this country is racist. All you gotta do is join the exploiter. All you gotta do is sell your people out, and they take care of you. He said, just do that.
And
What they tell you to do.
can we bring up what Sebi already covered in her channel? Like, can we bring up that photo of that?
Do you
I
have
think
it?
it was even the army saying like, "Oh, watch out, because like for you Negroes, um, the people from Ukraine will call you the N word, but be
Oh yeah,
nice to them." Like
Yeah, I report
what?
on that. Let me see. I can find it. Let me see if I can find the receipt. I was just talking about that not too
So
long
like
ago.
Colin Powell had rest in hell, like when he said that, like, and I heard it from Afeni too, like, oh, the military is how you get like Negroes in America to pump up a notch in class. And I'm like, so am I conscious enough to go into serving a system, killing, and getting the risk and having the risk to be killed for a system that oppresses me? Hmm. So I keep on wondering whenever I see a person of color, a black person in a uniform, what are you doing? What are you doing?
They had the
These
black
people are.
woman.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying they had a black woman that was talking about the evils of Russia. I was trying to see if I can dig in and find it, but I played it on the show. She was one of the people at the UN that was speaking like, "Yo, this is why we need to kick Russia off the Human Rights Council because they have committed unspeakable atrocities." And I'm like, "You're a black woman in the United States trying to say another country isn't evil." There's no demographic other than indigenous women that have been treated worse than black women by the United States, right? But sorry, Josanna, I cut you off. I apologize.
No, 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 no. You're fine. Let's talk about her. Let's tell people what I told you. I don't trust no Negroes that that go serve the government of the United States of America.
Let's see if I
Because
can
you're
find.
going inside of the white man's house and they are calling us Uncle Tom. Because that's what you are when you are serving a system made to keep you in place, a system that is built to oppress us. If you are serving this system, if you truly believe that the way out for us is to be a capitalist, I'm a quote I'm a quote JB. Really. Like, seriously, are you serving a system made to oppress you? Do you really think that you can play the game with the white supremacists pawns? Or do you think you are the pawns? So when I see Eric Adams, the new Supreme Court justice person, this woman that you were saying that was like justifying the empire in the Russian war, um,
I wish I could find the video. Man.
Kamala Harris. Hi, Sabi. Kamala Harris. Oh, Sabi's saying it here. Kamala Harris. Like when I see these people, I look at them sideways because I know they are accepting being tokenized. They are accepting that. And it's really easy to figure out that you were being tokenized. It hurts. But in the moment that you know that and you make a choice, look at this squad, guys. Look at this squad. This is like you have a Latina, you have a Muslim black woman, you have a black woman, and then like and and an indigenous woman. Like
And they are there
this
to
sounds like
apologize.
casting.
And they're there to apologize for the white supremacist Democratic Party. They AOC cried when kids in cages under Donald Trump. Where's that energy under Joe Biden? She was like my form of activism is holding Joe Biden's hand and asking him to cancel student loan debt, and then I'm gonna edit the video so you don't know what he says to protect
That
him.
doesn't sound up.
Let's see if I can find that. That was funny. That was funny.
Like, and it's not just that. Like, she cried, and like to me, like people, it's funny. People were like raging on Twitter against me. Josanna is an actor. Yes, I'm an actress since I'm 10 years old.
Lakeland.
And I'm a working actress since then, thanks to the universe. So when I saw the squad, I was like, oh wow, that sounds like casting. Because I received the emails with the casting, right? Casting a black woman, mid 30s to early 40s, hair like
AOC.
this AOC, these like, because now they have to do the diversity hire. And that's what the squad.
Calling it casting is perfect because AOC got a documentary. Do you know this? She got a documentary on Netflix called "Knocking Down the House" when she was running. Like, why the? You really think they would give a true threat a Netflix series documenting her campaign? She was an intern for like Ted Candy, wasn't she? Something like that. One of the candies. But people think that she's just a bartender. They don't tell you about that. And look, you want to see AOC's version of activism now under Joe Biden?
Yeah.
AOC AOC thinks politely asking the president to do something is activism. This is what she posted, and the video is actually worse. The video is more cringe than this because she muted his response. He kind of like asleep here, but she says, and she posted shit on her Instagram because she knows if she posted shit on Twitter, she'll get ratioed and destroyed. So she only posts this on Instagram because she knows that's where her simps are, right? You think this is a real leftist? And she said, and then I said, okay, for real, we need to forgive student loan debt. Never give up an organizing opportunity. So organizing is not showing up with the Amazon workers who asked you to show up at the picket line with them. Organizing is asking a guy who has no intention to do what you ask, and then you cover for him by muting his response. He didn't say, AOC didn't say, yo, I asked Biden to cancel student loan debt, and he said, no, we need to put pressure on the president. She couldn't even do that. You see this? That's an actress. This is a real actress. Everyone in like you did real acting. Everyone in Washington D.C. are they are spoiled rich kids who don't have the talent to be an actor in Hollywood or something. So they get a position in Washington D.C. or corporate media.
Oh
Anderson
no.
Cooper, Brian Stelter, all of those people, AOC, Joe Biden, all these people are actors.
I would disagree with you just on the fact that I think that these are the best actors.
Yeah,
Because like
they got
the base
skills.
of acting, like if we go into the basis of acting, is like I go with the Meisner technique that I learned here in the US because it helped me a lot with my work. But it's you going through a present moment situation. So we are here now. This is happening. If we were acting, that would be me passing through that situation. They believe so much in what they're doing that they become believable for those that are not questioning their attitudes. Because like it's it's not funny to be able to see these things. Because when you see a picture of AOC like that, you're like, man, shit. I had so much hope.
Like that's and that hope being crushed is good because I remember I was like, man, I being sided when AOC won and being sided when Cory Bush won. This is when I was significantly to the right than where I am now, right? I told you guys about my journey, right? But now when I see who they really are and they expose themselves, instead of just defending them like AOC Simpson, Bernie do, and to the death, I'm like, okay, so I guess my strategy was wrong. I guess the idea of taking over the Democratic Party, the idea of putting faith in these actors is a bad idea. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of time. I want to share this though, because we talk about actors, and you're all right. I do concede because they are good actors. You want to see what the best actor in Hollywood, the guy who fooled everybody. Look at this. This is the best actor that I've ever seen. Barack Obama. You want to see his acting in Flint when he was pretending the water that was good? You see this?
Now, I'm going to talk about this. Everybody settle down. This is a feisty crowd. I really did need
He's a great actor. We got more. We got more. This is Barack Obama and Joe Biden doing the air bump. You see, this is great acting.
Put it big. I want to see. Oh God.
This is another one. I think this one's worse. Look at this one. That's what I do.
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
Oh my
I drop
God.
one bomb every 20 minutes. I drop a bomb every 20 minutes. We dropped so many bombs under my administration, we ran out. That's what I do, though. Black wealth was tanked and destroyed under my administration. That's what I do. We torture some folks, right? God damn. Now, you're right, Josanna. Who's a bigger actor than that guy?
I hate it so much. Like, he's so sexy and charming and like and cool guy. Like, you want to be friends with him. Like, he
God
throws
damn
the
it.
ball. That's what I do. And you're like, damn right, nigga. That's what you do. Fist bump. And I'm like,
Man, the black community, like the young black people, we know who he is now. But man, we wanted to like this motherfucker so bad, man. We wanted to like him. But the reality is he's an insane psychopathic war criminal that is literally Reagan in blackface. He's a Rockefeller Republican. He is to the right of Richard Nixon. And that's just the reality. No matter how much you want to like him, you can't fall for that charisma shit. And people still do it. A lot of people think they don't. People still fall for the charisma shit. Watch this video. I found the longer version. So this is, you want to see acting? You want to see something that is unforgivable that Obama did? Just watch the video. I think the video speaks for itself.
We invest. Can I get some water? Come on up there. I want a glass of water.
Get a bottle. Bottle water.
I want a glass of water. Everybody settle down. This is a feisty crowd. Thank you. I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
What? He wet his lips. He did not drink it. He didn't sip it. He wet his lips.
There was an audible gasp in the audience. People were just like absolutely dejected. Why would you do that?
I am sure that somewhere when I was 2 years old, I was taking a chip of paint, tasting it, and I got some lead.
Yeah, that's like talking about like, well, I didn't wear a seatbelt and I'm fine. It's like, but there were tons of people that died.
Backstage, the president, sitting at the table with the criminal governor, decided to perform his stunt all over again.
Generally, I have not been doing stunts here, but,
That's not what I expected. That's what Snyder did.
It felt like he minimized like what people were actually going through and struggling with. If you were actually lead poisoned, you would not be president. You would be janitor Barack Obama.
We were holding on to hope that he would declare a disaster area. A disaster would give us FEMA. It would give us pipe replacement, get engineers in here. Then we could get Medicare for all the residents of Flint. As soon as he took a drink of the water and said everything's fine, that was that.
And look at it, years later, it's still poison.
When he came here, it was my president. But when he left, he was not my president.
I would, again, go back to the president's visit last week.
Unforgivable. And if you're a black person that still supports that, do you guys see the role that Barack Obama plays? He is the black shield. He is the great actor that is there to play defense for the white supremacy of the Democratic Party and the criminal governor that was responsible for poisoning Flint. That's the how devastating their actors are, right? You got any thoughts, Josanna? And then we can move on.
That makes me want to cry, but I've been called a crybaby over the weekend, and I don't want to be. The level of betrayal, the level of cruelty, these people's lives are on the line. They are black people drinking poisoned water. And their leader, the person that represented all the hope for these people, went there in front of them and made a fool of himself just so he could keep his bag. Keep voting.
And you see how he minimized, like she said, he minimized their suffering. If you guys don't know, the people that was poisoned, their water was contaminated to a point, and not just drinking water, it's bathing water, water you shower with, water you brush your teeth with. So there were kids who lost their teeth. The kids had cognitive decline, and they permanently have, like, they're likely to develop learning disabilities because they was poisoned from a young age. Being a kid, being bathed in that water, getting milk from a mother that drank in that poison. The mainstream media don't cover this, and I give credit to Jordan for status quo. No matter what you feel about Jordan, he has done a good job covering this issue, and he's been doing follow-ups over and over again. A few independent media people have been actually covering this. They cover this because it's one of the greatest sins of Barack Obama and the Democratic Party. You see, they poisoning the water in Hawaii, the Navy. The military is dumping toxic waste in black communities as we speak right now. RB is the only media outlet that covered that story. So this is what the government do to our people. When people ask what environmental racism, this is what it is. When people ask why you gotta destroy the military-industrial complex in order to address climate change, because the military-industrial complex is poisoning our water. They're the largest polluter in human history, right? Any other thoughts? I guess we can. I want to share this. I love this video because anyway, Josanna, you can add on, then we can play this.
No, I just think that you have to be such a fucking soulless motherfucker. You have to be a soulless motherfucker. And I will repeat, a soulless motherfucker. That's what Obama is. That's what Joe Biden is. That's what freaking AOC is. They are all, that's what fucking Bernie is. They are all soulless motherfuckers. You have to see your own people, like your own skin, going through that and react like that. And that's why I said, keep on voting. That's sarcasm. I know I don't sound sarcastic because that's not my first language, but keep on voting for this bunch of clowns, bad faith actors, soulless motherfuckers. I'm taking an advantage of the fact that we are not monetizing at the moment. That's what they are. And the more we push for them to just keep on going and getting the job that they want, the dream job that they want to have, the more soulless motherfuckers are going to be pulling this stunt. Sitting with the chairman of white supremacy that is killing Black people in Michigan.
So this is the story that I watch a lot of independent media. I think we were the only one that covered it. I covered it multiple times because it's one of the biggest stories that, like, it was posted here, then no one gave it play. The U.S. military is poisoning communities across the U.S. with toxic chemicals. The Department of Defense has ordered the burning of 20, what's that? I don't even know what that metric is. Pounds of AFF, despite risk to human health. Do you guys know how unbelievably stupid this is? They wanted to burn one of the most enduring, indestructible, toxic chemicals known to man. This which the military uses. And FYI, and they explain in this article, once manufactured, the AFF bond that they use to poison our community, it is virtually indestructible. And that includes burning it. If you burn this chemical, only thing that happens, it goes to the air, it goes into the water supply. When it rains, it goes into the communities. And there have been people who've been poisoned by this. Now, what happened to the people in these communities? They have a larger rate of getting cancer, development disorders, immune dysfunction, and infertility. Also, it's been linked to aggravated COVID-19 infection and weakened vaccine efficacy. So pretty much, these people overall, their immune system, their body is destroyed. And guess where this happened? In a mostly black community, because that's where they can get away with doing it. And people don't understand why we are militant on this channel. We are militant about destroying the military industrial complex because you see what they're doing to our people. You got anything to add?
Yeah, I just keep on thinking like, Nick, I'm old. I lived. I have nothing to gain and nothing to lose. Kill me. It's okay. But when I see the way America treats their children and the children of others, because there is, right? We always gonna, you have like, you're talking to me right now. We always going to remember that there are concentration camps in American soil. I'm always going to remember you guys that. There are 2,500 children missing from the concentration camps that were sent to black market. I don't like to use this term. Adoption, the ones that are white passing, and the other ones, it's sad that we're going into the pedophilia ring. So, and no one's talking about it. No one cares about it. No one can even know where those kids are, nor they will look for them. When I see the way this country treats their next generation, the children, it kills me. It kills me inside. It's like I want to go there with my bare hands and open the motherfucking cages. I don't know how y'all's blood is not boiling on a daily basis.
You hear what Rome said, right? I told you Rome is too raw for YouTube, guys. Rome was telling people on Twitter, because Eric Adams has been waging this war on the homeless. And Rome was like, why are you motherfuckers in New York putting up with this? There are videos of the cop being homeless people, tear gassing them here with batons. And he like, the people just take it. We've been pacified. And then our ruling class want to say stuff like violence is never the answer. Oh my God, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Violence is never the answer. But meanwhile, violence is always their go-to. They want to tell our populace we can't respond with self-defense and violence. Meanwhile, if you don't even disobey a police, if you misunderstand a police command, that gives them the right to beat your ass, to tase you. They do it all the time. People like will mishear what they say. Then all of a sudden you getting tased. That's the justification. I know Merrick Locke was one. Well, there was another one. They shot this guy. I think I'm trying to remember the name, man. Guys, I apologize. There's so many of them. But there's this guy who they aimed a gun at him. And they later like put the gun down. Then he didn't respond. It was like 1.5 seconds. And this was confirmed by the body cams. They was like, drop the gun. Boom, boom. What? They gave him no time to comply. There's been other videos where, like, you gotta understand how people operate under stress. Sometimes your hearing is off. It may take you time to comprehend, especially in times of great stress, right? You had the police kicking the door, waving the fofo, right? You're shocked because they got a no-knock warrant. This is what happened to Mirror Lock. They immediately start barking orders. The Mirror Lock had a gun in his hand. They shoot him. What happened to your Second Amendment right? What happened to your Fourth Amendment right? They don't exist. They are temporary allowances.
It's like the guy disarmed a shooter and he got shot.
This is what they say too. They said that Nick, the cops will feel threatened. Desert obviously being sarcastic here because this is what they say, right? Oh my God, I thought my life was in my life. They legitimately think this is a good response to killing people. They say, I think my life was in jeopardy. Motherfucker, this is your job. You're supposed to be a cop. You're supposed to defuse situations. It's a dangerous. It's actually not. Like, if you look at the most dangerous jobs, the jobs with the highest mortalities, cops not even like top 5. It's like construction workers and that kind of stuff. People who have real on-the-job accidents. So, ignoring that part, your job is literally to put yourself in danger. But they say, oh, I'm in danger, so that gives me the right to kill. Did what Dave Grossman preaches in Killology. He said, if you feel like your life is in danger, shoot first, ask questions later. But people want to say, oh my God, the cops are so brave. They're so brave. No, they are cowards. Never forget, I'm talking shit now, but never forget, the average cop is just a pussy who's too scared to sign for the military. That's what the average American cop is. Now, the other cops in other countries, and I have friends who's playing like the role of cops in other socialist countries, it's completely different. Like, it's like the way that policing work in other countries. Like, a lot of them not even armed. It really is them serving the communities. But in America, the police literally go into war with their own people. And a lot of them go in war with people in our country, civilians, who literally can't fight back because they're too cowardly to sign up in the military. Because they know they may get fucking bombed by a freedom fighter, right? They pussies. They cowards. That's who they are. I'm not afraid to say it. If you got a friend that is a cop, you think he's a good cop, he would have quit his job a long time ago. He would have resigned a long time ago. So that includes your bastard relative who's a cop. I'm sorry.
A good cop ain't a cop. Because, like, if you are a cop, you are serving white supremacy. So, Nick, you have a story that you want to bring up, right? About the FBI not like.
Oh yeah. We can get into that because we almost an hour in. So let's get into that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say to set it up, and I can pull it up?
Yeah, I just wanted. I don't think it will. I think all we are talking about. We were talking before. Like, it's interconnected. I just want to say that we are yet to see that the police serves as an instrument to keep the power for white supremacy. And they know their targets. So the system will tire us into working. And if we get out of that little line, they're going to attack us. I mean, we go have drones in New York City. How can I do my performance art in the streets against the system? Because my art is so political that I would never step foot on Hollywood, I think. But, like, how can I? Because I talk to elderly people in Brazil, like old comrades, and they're so cool. They probably some of them will be like, will be in the summit with us. Sorry, just lost a little bit of train of thought.
It's okay.
And they tell me, when I put for them the scenario of what's going on here in the US, they tell me this feels exactly pre-1964. Because in the April Fools of 1964, the military government took over in Brazil. They had a coup d'etat, and the military was going to be now the force of power. And they say that the sensations I'm experiencing here, because I was explaining to Nick that a bunch of, like, in Brazil, every single artist, actor, we are all activists. There are some bum ass, there are like right-wing Bolsonaro, but most of us, we are like activists on the ground. And we use the platform to actually call out the system. And they are saying that, like, the way I'm feeling right now is the way they felt in the pre-April Fool's 1964. Like, you cannot talk too much. You get taken out of air on YouTube. Your channel gets taken down. There are too many rules to follow. And suddenly, a freaking drone. So, no, Nick, I can be wrong. I can be proven wrong. And I will die thinking I'm right. I think today, this attack was staged by the NYPD so they can get the bump and the budget they want. Because that's what freaking Pete Mayor is saying right now in the news. He's saying that we need more cops in the streets because we don't have enough. Every single corner you go in the thank you for every single corner we go here in New York, you have a camera, my friend. Do you really think you have privacy?
So the NYPD, they owe their people an apology. The NYPD, you guys gotta understand, they have been a literal anti-terror unit that has spent their time harassing homeless people. They haven't prevented a single terrorist attack. This is what we talk about when we say policing do not equal more public safety. So Eric Adams was like, we want to add 3,500 cops on the subway. He militarized the subway, put a ton of people and his goons on the subway, but they do nothing to stop it. So think about it like this. And I always want to jab at the quote unquote fiscal conservatives. It's not just that the police failed. Think about every single dollar that Eric Adams spent in escalating police presence and boosting the NYPD, and then it did nothing to protect the people in the tragedy. That's robbery. That's fraud. But as I mentioned before, Eric Adams knows this. Their job is not to protect us. And when I hear Josanna's theory, honestly, guys, it's not too far-fetched. The FBI, the fact that the FBI still exists is beyond me. I've been calling for the abolition of the FBI because the FBI is literally just a sophisticated entrapment program. They create more terrorists than they prevent. They create and escalate terrorist attacks. And not only do you have the cops that are designed to protect the rich, you have the FBI who works on behalf of the rich. Our law enforcement in this country works on behalf of the rich. So we talk about all the time broken windows policing, how they steal our wealth and how they treat the working class. If you don't believe me, look at this. The FBI decided not to knock down a suspect's front door because it was in an affluent neighborhood. Now compare this to a mirror lock, where they once again they kicked down the door, waving the 4-4, shot this man. No hesitation. When it comes to poor and working class people, especially black and brown indigenous people, they don't care about the property damage. Now think about how fucked up this is. The rich people who can afford to fix the property, they don't want to harm the property, and this is their rationale. When you look at how they favor, why they said they didn't want to kick in this door, look at the decision. The decision was made since it was an affluent neighborhood. They didn't want to ruin the aesthetics of the neighborhood. They just admit the reason why they didn't kick in a door of someone they have a warrant for in an affluent neighborhood because they thought it looked pretty. Meanwhile, these people who can afford to fix it, they don't do it, but they will kick down your door real quick. Now you see who they designed to serve? Just another example. I can pull this up too because I shared this a little bit with CJ, and I know we reported on the ICPP report, the climate report.
But also,
go ahead.
We bring up, if you have, can we bring up the army log headers? Because I think it's important to people to see that side by side.
Do you have the
link? Forget these things. I don't. I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look for it.
Because I don't have that say. Because you guys know the story of a mirror lock. A mirror lock is, and I'll explain for people who may not be in the know. A mirror lock is an example of how we don't have the Second Amendment that you guys think we do. So they broke into a mirror lock's house. And then Mirlock had a gun. And then they shot him. And this led to them banning no-knock warrants. Because this is just the way the police has been assassinating black people. They assassinated Breonna Taylor. They assassinated Mirlock. And if I remember right, they didn't even have the right house. So their excuse was, oh, Mirlock had a gun. He didn't immediately comply. Now think about this. This is how ridiculous the cops are. You in your home. You didn't do anything bad because they got the wrong house. So someone break into your house screaming. And you're armed because that is your right as an American. We got a Second Amendment right. So you hear someone break into your house. So of course you grab your gun. So the police see this guy who is exercising his Second Amendment right on his property, on where he lives, I should say. Well, we don't own shit here, but where he lives. And they shoot him. And they shoot him. And they think, oh, well, he should have complied immediately. That's how ridiculous our police state is. Let's pull this up.
And it's so funny to think like, oh, but he was sleeping with a gun. Yes. If you're black and American and not sleeping close to your gun, then I don't know what we're gonna do, especially in places like that. Like, I mean, here now we probably there's gonna be a drone and we cannot shoot at the drone anymore.
Look at this, no criminal charges, and I don't really celebrate this shit because I don't give them no benefit of the doubt. Here's the headline: Mirlock's death prompts ban on no-knock warrants. What are we supposed to do? As a black man, I'm asking you guys. As a black man, I'm asking you guys, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to celebrate this? Am I supposed to celebrate a Mirlock sacrificing himself? That's what white liberals were saying. Well, George Floyd died for a good reason. Fuck you. We have a right not to die for a cause or a reason. To even suggest that it's psychopathic. And by the way, the only reason they did this was so they can justify the fact that no criminal charges will be filed. So as someone who gives them no benefit of the doubt, they're just gonna substitute it with some other shit. As far as I'm concerned. And I'm asking anyone in the comments, do you guys think I'm unreasonable? I'm not celebrating this shit. We both celebrate our people being sacrificed in order to make progress. By the way, no progress was made after George Floyd, quote unquote, sacrificed himself. Cops were killing 3 people per day. They gave more money to the police using our brother George Floyd's name. Y'all want us to cheer for this shit? You guys want us to lock hands with the Democratic Party? They're complicit with this shit? Minnesota's blue. Their children were led off by Amy Klobuchar. Kamala Harris waged the war against black men and black mothers in California. And then they were like, oh, well, this is what they're saying right now. The Republican Party is so homophobic, so we got to support our oppressors because they are homophobic. And my brother JB and a lot of my LGBT brothers and sisters will tell you, Kamala Harris was denying gender affirmation surgeries to people in prison. So it's like Democratic Party is not an ally to anyone. And anyone who believes so is ridiculous. If you don't think the escalation of the police state don't hurt the LGBT community,
well,
they don't hurt
queer, and I think I'm queer, and I think the Democratic Party is extremely homophobic.
Yes.
We live in a system of white supremacy, homophobia, racism, capitalism, imperialism, ableism. It's like you're making this gigantic body. And the name of the gigant that you built is white supremacy. How can people that want to keep the system in place running beautifully, amazingly, how they're not going to be homophobic? They're extremely. They just talking the loud, the quiet part, not loud. Not just for that, just that. For the other things they are. Especially racism, because why not? Right? Imperialism, Marcia. Yeah, Marcia Guzman. Imperialism is part of this gigantic body called white supremacy. Because like the big asshole Viking wants to go and explore, right? and
So
conquer. Sorry.
no, well, we just having fun. We just having fun. We just having fun. We about an hour in. Was there anything else you want to share? I also have a story on Ukraine. I think we can do the Ukraine story real quick.
We can do the Ukraine, and then in the end, Quaker is preparing something for me. She sent me a link for PowerPoint, but go with your thing first. I just want to read the names. I will explain in the end. I want to close our thing with that. Can I? It's a surprise.
Yeah. So
But you're gonna have to help me with the PowerPoint.
Okay, let's see. Let's see how this work out. So let's do this Ukraine story. Now tomorrow, I'm gonna have my co-host Zoya. She grew up in Ukraine and USSR as well. She's very knowledgeable about this subject. We're gonna talk about the psyops that have been coming from our government. I've been looking into the Bucha massacre. We've been looking into the evidence, and this is just another false flag. And Zoya has the receipts. So tomorrow we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into the psyops that have been played. Because I told you guys, Zoya was hitting me up. She was like, Nick, we gotta do a show on this. I got the receipts because you guys don't know she hosts seminars. That's what I call them. Like the long ass Twitter spaces. There's just debunking US talking points, right? So we're gonna dive into that tomorrow. There's something that caught my eye and something that we gotta bring up because this is the outsider's view. We got Josanna, who has the outsider's view. I consider myself to have an outsider's view, right? So what is the narrative that's coming from the insiders? The insiders wants to pretend that there is this international unified front against Russia and that everyone is united under this neo-Nazi inspired and led Ukrainian resistance, the Azov Battalion, that have been committing war crimes and killing civilians, right? And me and Joy we about to get into a lot of the war crimes that they committed, all the false flags that they're lying about. So they want to pretend that the entire international community is behind NATO in the West, despite the crimes that NATO in the West had committed against Black, colonized, and other disenfranchised community, the global South as a whole, right? So this came from, I noticed this came from Zelensky in the Ukraine and the liberals. So this from this guy Samuel, this is why I first found this. He says that Zelensky has asked to address the African Union. Unclear whether he will, but this, and I'm gonna get to that. He's not. Because Kenya, among other African countries, was like, fuck you. And I'm gonna explain why. So look at the language that is used here. They consider this a major opportunity to convince the neutral Africa who say, we're not joining your sanctions battle with Russia. They want them to change their tune. And this is what Josanna mentioned. This is what Savvy covered as well. And this is what I bring up in response to this. You had the Peace Corps that warned Black volunteers that they would be called monkeys, they'd be called the N-word, and overall jeered at for being Black. And in the way that Azov Battalion and their supporters will speak to them, because they are fucking ethno-fascists. They believe in one culture. If you ever hear the Azov people speak, they believe in one culture, one state, one people. And whenever you hear this slogan as a colonized person, run. That is as bad as it gets. That is directly from the Nazi ideology. But Zelensky wants Africa to change their tune. Do you guys, NATO, and this is what none of the neo-progressives, the David Doe, the Kyle Kalinskis, the Majority Report, the Western chauvinists like Vosh, who are siding with the Ukrainian neo-Nazis. And they're siding with NATO. Vosh was like, NATO is based, anti-imperialist group. NATO provided material support for the Portuguese, for example, in their dominance of Africa. Now, this is a great article that explains why many African countries, including Kenya, because Kenya responded to this and it was like, nah, bro, we're not We know what the West, we know what the NATO did to Africa. Now, I'm going to explain this, and I will get you in here, Josanna. I'm just doing my little presentation. NATO and Africa, a relationship of colonial violence and structural white supremacy. Let me zoom in a little bit. There you go. I think you guys can see it a little bit better. Let me close this. So let's dive into this just a little bit, right? I'm gonna go to this part, right? Since NATO was founded, the purpose of NATO, and this is what it's explained here, was halting possible Soviet aggression and stopping the spread of communism. And this is what Noam Chomsky, this is what everyone on our side of left media, not the shit libs that pretend to be progressives, this is what we've been saying. NATO has no mandate. They have continued to expand east despite promises that they will stop expansion after the collapse of the USSR. We talking about the Minsk Agreement, the Warsaw Pact, all this stuff we talking about. That's been what they're talking about. And now, the last paragraph here, NATO has become an axle. This is why I tweeted out when this conflict first started, and I saw people putting Ukraine flags because they want to see the expansion of NATO. How can you be on the left and want to see the expansion of NATO when it's always been a tool of the military-industrial complex that they explain here for the purpose of full spectrum dominance? Now we explain full spectrum dominance. The Black Agenda Report, Black Alliance for Peace, Margaret Kimberly, we've been explaining what full spectrum dominance is. This has been the ideology of the West ever since the end of World War II. No competitors, especially ever since the rise of the USSR. The rise of the USSR freaked out the West and the capitalists. The rise of Cuba, right? So they said we're going to eliminate opposition no matter what the cost. This is what led to Operation Condor and the atrocities that they committed in the global South, in South America, in Josanna's backyard, right? There's also how NATO cut up Africa and they killed revolutionaries who fought back with anti-capitalist ideology. So they explain here, and I apologize, Josanna, I'm almost done here. The colonial Africa as NATO bases. And Walter Roddy accurately describes the early foundation of colonial Africa relationship with NATO. So this is what he says. In the 1950s, most Africans were still colonial subjects, and they had absolutely no control over the utilization of their soil for militaristic ends. Virtually the whole of North Africa was turned into a sphere of operations for NATO, where they had bases aimed at the Soviet Union. We all seen the African colonization maps. When you look at who colonized Africa, guess who flag you're not going to see? You're not going to see a Chinese flag, and you're not going to see a Russian flag. So why would these African countries side with the U.S. and NATO, who pillaged and destroyed their people over people who mostly left them alone? China is now building in Africa. Sorry, let me speed up here.
No.
Let me
go
go
ahead.
here.
It's okay. We're learning.
Time and time again, the evidence points to this cynical use of Africa to buttress. I don't know what that means, but that's interesting. Buttress capitalism economically and militarily, and therefore, in effect, forcing Africa to contribute to its own exploitation. Now they go explain what I mentioned before, the example of Portugal, where NATO supplied, and I'm summing up these paragraphs here, right? They provide material support to Portugal in order to fight anti-colonial resistance in Africa. And I am asking you guys, who else is telling you this other than RBN? Why is RBN telling you this? Because we are a black network.
Because we're black.
We're black. No one else will cover this.
We're African.
So buttress means to help support, strengthen. We are learning as a community, my friend.
Thank you, Ron.
So, Josanna, do you have anything to add? That's my, hold on, do I got another one?
Yeah,
I got one more thing to share, but go, Josanna, you can give your thoughts. I got one more thing.
No. I would just say, like, we are of African roots. And if our motherland is rejecting the Nazis, guess what we should be doing instead of going into the military? Go ahead, Nick.
All right, so all right, we can do the we can go through this slide after this part too because I want to share you. Actually, let me play this. I saw that Richard Medhurst played the video I posted from Cuba. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Because I think this is very important. God damn, I should have prepared this. Here it is. Should be patient.
It's
1 second.
okay. We home. We're just having a conversation.
Here it is. So this is Cuba's response. I covered how the West united to kick Russia off the Human Rights Council, and in Africa, in many colonized countries like Cuba, for example, Venezuela. I showed you the Venezuela response to that. They're not having it. Now I'm gonna give you a real example of how they use human rights in order to advance U.S. imperialism, as Cuba outlined. Right now, this is Cuba's response when Russia was kicked out of the UN Human Rights Council. Check this out.
Could this assembly someday adopt a resolution suspending the membership of the United States in the Human Rights Council? Just to give one example. We all know that that has not happened, nor will it, despite its flagrant and massive violations of human rights as a result of invasions and wars against sovereign states, given its geopolitical interests. They have caused the deaths of hundreds of millions of civilians, which they term collateral damage. There have been millions of displaced people and destruction throughout our planet. But this assembly has never suspended any of its rights. Could this
I'm gonna see if I can find another one. But you see how Cuba and the other countries they're not accepting the bullshit premise that the West are defenders of human rights, as they shouldn't either. Now, there's another one that is a great.
Yeah, the somebody commented on the voice was like, why did they choose like a white lady's voice over that man?
Yeah,
Like,
that's funny. I remember I had the same thought. They should have had like, you need like Samuel Jackson voiceover for what he said. I want to see that. Now, I want to play this other response for Cuba. This other response for Cuba didn't get as much play, but this is also very important because it ties into the next part. Because they talk about this international community. The international community is coming out to condemn Russia. The international community, they only talk about white people. Do you guys understand that? You had China, you have India, you have South Africa, you have many African nations, Venezuela, many South American countries.
even the moron in Brazil.
Even Brazil.
Even Bolsonaro.
Even him. I didn't know that. I actually didn't.
Just
I don't
by
know.
saying this name,
I
I was
actually,
like, whoa.
yeah, they did vote. They vote to abstain on the UN Human Council vote. Now that you mention it, I'm glad you brought that up. So this is another point that Cuba make. Look at this point, and this ties into what they're doing now because the West is pissed at India. So let's watch this video, and I'm gonna get into why that is here soon. But Cuba predicts this. So check this out.
suspension mechanism, which has no parallel in any other body of the United Nations, could be easily used selectively. It is Russia today, but tomorrow it could be any of our countries, especially nations of the South, which do not support the interests of domination and which firmly defend their independence. It was not by chance that the more enthusiastic promoters of the suspension clause, when negotiating the new Human Rights Council, were developed nations with a clear trend to accuse countries of the South which do not follow their alleged models of democracy while remaining silent in the case of flagrant violations in Western countries. Not everyone in this hall share our concerns about the suspension mechanism. They know that the victims of its selective use will always be others.
Now let's break down what he just said. He just said, with the first video, you saw him call out the U.S. human rights. Now he explained that having this hypocrisy in allowing the U.S., the U.K., and all the other colonizer states to get away with their human rights atrocities while condemning Russia, you allowing them to politicize human rights. And Cuba points out, because they've been a victim of this, they say it's only a matter of time before this hypocrisy bites you in the ass if you support this, because they will use human rights as a weapon, as a bludgeon, so they can delegitimize your state. Now, why do I bring this up? Because this is very relevant. The West wanted to prove them correct almost immediately. So you explained, Josanna, how Brazil voted against this resolution. We also talk about how India voted against this resolution. China voted to abstain. Now look at the that's 50. That at least 50% of the world population that does not go along with Western hegemony, despite the narrative that the international community is coming out against them. So what is the West's response to this? This is incredible. Let me share my screen here one more time. Check this out. U.S. is monitoring the rise of human rights abuses in India. Anthony Blinken says. You guys see this? You see how they weaponize human rights? And once again, I'll explain. This is right after India decided to rebuke the West. So the West that always protected Moody, they always protected the Indian regime. Now they're like, oh, you're bad now. And I say the U.S. is so predictable. It's becoming a parody.
It's like I can never forget when there was the war in Iraq. Like Iraq has weapons of massive destruction. Actually, we saw a picture of soldiers sitting in gold. And I remember that they used that anthrax trick. Remember that little, I don't know if you guys will remember that, like little powder in an envelope, anthrax. I'm probably saying how it's saying in Portuguese, which is anthrax. You would open a letter and that chemical would get in your hands.
1 second? I'll be right back. Can you take over?
Okay.
Just keep going.
That thing was going to get in your hands and do something like that. But then there comes this fake list saying like countries that hold that technology. And in Brazil, they were discovering about the unlimited source of petroleum called pré-sal. And then Brazil was the third in the list. Like, we don't even have like a good military, or like our taxes do not, thank you, Marcia. Our taxes do not go towards the military. It's a clown show. And like they were calling us terrorists because they wanted to take over. So every time the US is actually saying that there is a country that needs to be watched because of the lack of rights for their citizens. I remember Bush making a speech, these countries in this list, they will feel the taste of democracy and freedom that the US brings. They are telling us they're going to war our asses. They're going to invade our countries. They're going to impose sanctions in our countries. We're going to go die from starvation, and they're going to be the good guys because Hollywood is going to make sure that they look like the good guys. And the bad guy is the Afghan. The bad guy is the Palestinian child. The bad guy is the Yemeni child. The bad guy is every single country in the African continent.
Well said. So we can end the program with this, because I'm glad that you
brought
this
with
up.
the missing black women.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, because and I'm not mad when you have white girls that go missing and their community rally behind them. Good for them. I hope you find your Susan, your Jill, right? But the problem is there's like this epidemic of Black women who go missing, indigenous women who go missing. They do not get the coverage. So I guess, and I take this to heart, especially as our platform continues to grow. the best we can do as the Black Network is at least be the change we want to see. So that's why I'm glad that and Quaker put this together.
Quaker
right?
Socialist just put together. She has made a thread on Twitter, but she put together a slideshow for us so we can read the names of the victims.
Yeah, so let's go over this.
Share this
Big
clip.
shout out.
Keep on saying their names. We need to find the Black women.
So big shout out to Quaker Socialists, and this is what being an ally looks like. We got a lot of great people in our community. I seen people ask like, what can we do as white comrades? Because you guys see our criticism, which shows they already got the right mindset. There are a lot of people who they're fragile. They hear what we say, they're like, oh my God, you guys being too mean to white people. You already failed the test. So if you're a good white ally, you hear what we're saying, you know that you're not who we're talking about, and you're like, oh, how can we help? And this is what Quaker does. Like putting the real work in, right? So big shout out to Quaker Socialists. This is what ally looks, and not hard. This is what it looks like though. So this is the crisis.
Yeah, if you want to be an ally, just learn from Quaker Socialists.
But Josanna, I talk too much. So do you want to read this through, and I can go through the slide? Do you want to present it?
Yes, please.
Crisis
of missing Black women and girls deserve. Sorry, see, I can't read because I don't speak English. Crisis of missing Black women and girls deserve more public attention.
And before you judge Josanna, just know she speaks 4 languages. How many do you speak? Okay, sir. Okay, so here's the next one.
Missing Black women. 270K women were reported missing, and nearly 100,000 were Black women and girls. Black women account for less than 15% of the US population, but more than 1/3 of all missing women. So why don't we know their names? Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted. Here's the next one.
So in a 2016 study, Missing White Women Syndrome, legal scholar Zach something found that when Black people are missing, the media covers them with fewer stories in comparison to the other demographic groups. According to the FBI, 53% of all juvenile prostitution arrests are Black children. Black women face a particularly high risk of being killed at the hands of a man. According to the FBI, at least 4 Black women were murdered per day in 2020, 2 years ago. We're going to say their names now. Kennedy Walton, 27 years old. Dana Holt, 30. Bessie Collins, 87 years old. Ella Goody. Daisy Allen, 27. Beverly Logan, 32, Illinois. All women. And then she has like the resources for you if you need, but also if you want it, Quaker has the thread in her Twitter, and then you can just like look for. I think Nick is gonna copy and post in the comments. That is to say also that there was a fact that I wanted to bring, and we can close right after that. It's just that there is data, and we were talking about like, oh, we are Black channel, we are gonna bring this up, and there is data on the fact that every 15 minutes, a Black young person is killed in Brazil. So it passed 15 minutes right now, a Black young person is killed by the police in Brazil. Why am I bringing that up? Out of the blue. After reading the names of the missing women, after talking about Africa rejecting, Cuba rejecting the Nazis, after everything we spoke here right now, that is to close, yes, every 15 minutes, a young Black person in Brazil is killed by the police. That is to close with the sentence that says like, we are all united in our struggle against imperialism and white supremacy. And if you are a poor white person, you are as much as a nigga as I am to the system. So wake up and let's unite we have a common denominator. All of us. There is killings here, there is killings outside of here, and all of them provoked by USA. Look at all the guns they are fighting wars right now. They are all made in USA.
Well said, Josanna. So we will have the outsider's view every Tuesday night. I tell you guys, I'm kind of taking over the evening time slots. CJ been doing a great job with his afternoon show. His new series, We Are the Revolution, is incredible. I love it. It's all about theory and education, which we need. Then I come in on the evenings. I usually focus on state violence, foreign policy, and the class war. Tomorrow, we will have Zoya. She will be joining us. CJ may join us. I got confirmed that. We're gonna talk about the Busha massacre, the lies that the West been pushing, and this is coming from someone who wants the truth. The West's propaganda campaign has been insane. So that's what we're gonna cover tomorrow at this time slot. So make sure you check out CJ's show in the afternoon, and then I'll be live outside review on Tuesday. Nigga CJ on Monday. Thursday in the International Leftist Coalition. You saw Peter. He joined us last Thursday night. We see who. Maybe I can get a saw someone join me this week. We see. And then Friday, Savvy Sabs holds down RBN. She has a show on Friday, and then I used to do a live stream on Saturday with a guest. So thank you guys for the
Me
support.
and Rome will be starting tomorrow. Bon Dia the Revolution, the Bon Dia Revolution, and we think we can make it at 9 a.m. But I would say like check it out, maybe also 10 a.m. Let's see. But yeah, we will be doing a Wednesday morning show. Thank you. That's very kind. I wish I was, but we will be doing this morning show, and it's going to be Rome and Josanna. We might call maybe Nick and JB as mediators because like that's going to be fun.
Rome and Josanna together is too much fire for YouTube. It's going to be great to watch. It's going to be great to watch. I'm sorry. Let me.
Yeah, he's being so sweet. William wrote, I would like to speak Portuguese so well like your English. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Josanna, you got to teach me Portuguese. I'm putting a lot of pressure on her to help me with that because I'm just this barbarian that only knows one language because I'm a victim of our public education. So someone asked, I saw someone, I didn't feature it, but what language do you speak, Josanna? So someone asked that.
I speak Portuguese as my native language. I feel like French is my second and English is my third, but my fourth is Spanish because it's too close to Portuguese. So I start speaking Portuñol to people that speak Spanish, and they start looking at me like, what are you talking about? And then I have to like rethink. But yeah, these are the four languages. It's Portuguese, English, French, and Spanish. Only languages that the colonizer taught us. I'm not super proud, but hey, I speak the languages. That's nice too.
So you guys will see Josanna on Tuesdays, and then you got your show with Rome. Please subscribe to our Substack so you guys get notifications. That's the way we can beat the algorithm. Subscribe, and we are able to produce more content, provide more clips, and we got a lot of great like events planned because you guys support us on Patreon. So we appreciate that. So please throw a donation or subscription on Patreon if you guys want to support the channel. Donate to Josanna because she's amazing. And have a great night, guys.